From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network and Troy campuses around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Weekly.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Weekly. We're glad you joined us for this look at what's happening in and around Troy University. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Troy University's Rosa Parks Museum is home to many artifacts and information about the life of Rosa Parks and the civil rights movement. And this week, the museum is now home to a work of art featuring the civil rights icon created by world-renowned artist Noel Hollis. Sarah Drake has the details from our Montgomery News Bureau.
The Rosa Parks Museum in Montgomery now has a new addition to its collection of art. A portrait of Rosa Parks created by Noel Hollis was donated to the museum by the Cummings family on Monday, and Trey Cummings explains why his family decided to take part in the donation.
We see Rosa Parks as such a powerful, strong role model, and we really want that kind of spirit ingrained in our daughters. We want them to be able to do anything that they put their minds to. And, we want them to understand the history and see where everything came from, and also hopefully move history forward.
Cummings also talked about what he hopes viewers of the portrait will see when they look at it.
This is a very powerful painting. It encompasses so many things, from the incident on the bus to today. And, I hope people can kind of see the journey. This has not been a short journey. This has been a long journey, and we still have a long way to go.
And after unveiling the portrait, Hollis mentioned where the inspiration for the portrait came from.
I had introduced the Hawkins to Italy through my exhibition there that I had with the mayor, and I thought it would be good to get Troy and Italy united. And during this inauguration ceremony, it was like we had a talk, and they were talking about Rosa Parks, and I said, well, I'd be glad to do a portrait of Rosa.
Hollis also explained why he thinks it's important for students to know the history of Alabama.
And they have to get the education, the true education of the Alabama history and our history of what is true, because all the textbooks I remember really don't mention the racial situation as truthful.
And Noel's painting of Rosa Parks will be on permanent display here at the Rosa Parks Library and Museum. In Montgomery, Sarah Drake, Troy, TrojanVision News.
American foreign policy was in the spotlight on Troy's Montgomery campus as a part of the Alabama World Affairs Council's speaker series this week. Justin Walker has the details from our Montgomery News Bureau.
Terrorist attacks, shootings, and violence. These issues in the United States may seem like they're happening thousands of miles away, but their consequences impact us more than you might think. This was the message Tuesday night at the Alabama World Affairs Council presentation held in Montgomery.
While some of these events may seem literally a world away to us here in Montgomery, Alabama, they're really not. These things affect us, whether it's economics or our families or our just day-to-day existence.
The guest speaker was someone who the council deemed an expert in the field of foreign policy and believed he would enlighten the crowd with his knowledge. Tuesday's World Affairs Council event is one of 7 presentations that will be given throughout the year. And the speaker for this presentation is world-renowned author and speaker Locke Johnson, who says that he came to Troy University's Montgomery campus to give information on what he believes will be relevant in today's political society.
I've been invited by the Montgomery World Affairs Council to come down and talk about American foreign policy. The United States has to live in a world of about 200 other nations. And the question is, how do we get along well with them?
Johnson says that he hoped to motivate the audience to get more involved with his efforts and to think more critically about what they can do to help.
And maybe they'll contact their representatives to encourage them to play a greater role in foreign policy making. So I hope that they think more about where our country's going and how they might play a role as individual citizens who contact the representatives and ask for improvements.
The last World Affairs Council event of 2017 will be held on November 16th. In Montgomery, Justin Walker, Troy, TrojanVision News.
And world affairs were being discussed on the Troy campus as well, as some Troy students spent their lunch hour on Wednesday discussing nuclear disarmament and North Korea. Antonia Reese has more on the discussion.
On Wednesday, the Office of Civic Engagement hosted Talk of Troy in the Trojan Center to discuss the current nuclear issues the country faces with North Korea, along with other ongoing political issues and President Trump's actions.
We discussed Trump not recertifying the Iran deal, which is kind of an interesting topic because, you know, what did it need to be recertified? Did it need to be relooked at? And that was kind of what we discussed today, was with the student opinion on that.
We also wanted to draw it back into the semester topic of the North Korean nuclear crisis. So I had my graduate assistant, Max Herman, present the information today, and then we moderated a discussion about, you know, what does nuclear proliferation mean for the United States, for the world? What's the role of the United States in that conversation?
Several individuals were in attendance and provided feedback on the discussion, and graduate Max Herman felt overall the discussion was a success.
The discussion went really well today, actually. We had a couple, what I would consider like kind of experts. We had a student that grew up in South Korea and a student who was kind of an Army brat that grew up in South Korea. So I had really good understanding of that. And we also had another student who had a lot of knowledge on Iran. So it was great to have that knowledge in the discussion today.
Antonio Reese, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The students at Troy University have the opportunity to learn about ways indigenous groups incorporate natural medicine into their culture, thanks to an exhibit currently on display in the Troy University Library. Nathaniel Rodriguez has the story.
A new exhibit about Native American medicinal culture is on display on the first floor of the Troy University Library. The traveling exhibit, called Native Voices, covers how wellness is connected to culture, according to indigenous people across the United States, including those in Hawaii and Alaska.
By having it here, we believe that we're bringing a topic of interest to this area, especially with the Native American population that we have around Alabama, and particularly in this area.
Aside from having informational banners, the exhibit includes 6 iPad stations with testimonies from indigenous leaders, healers, and other community members.
You don't have to be next to a particular banner. It will take you through the entire exhibit per iPad. So the banners will describe the different sections and the topics of the display, but each iPad is in total to itself.
According to Simpson, the library applied for the exhibit's grant 2 years ago and had to wait for it to reach Troy.
The touring period for the traveling exhibit is a 4-year period. It runs from early 2016 to 2020. We just happen to be in the middle of the flow, and it's our time for the exhibit, so it just worked out like that.
One student said she loved learning about the native customs, which she believes can be applied to anyone's life.
Returning to a more natural lifestyle is always pretty beneficial, so I think the Native American tribes really got that one correct, and so we need to learn a little bit from them about that.
We'll take a short break, but when we return, we'll see how Troy University students were preparing for life after college. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Mom, can we get some ice cream?
Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
This is Dr. Daniel Smith. He's an expert in domestic and international economics. But his proudest achievement is connecting with his students and helping them accomplish more than they ever thought possible. That's the warrior spirit, and it's alive and well at Troy University. Feel it at troy.edu/spirit.
Now back to Troy TrojanVision News Weekly.
Landing your first job after college can be a daunting task. However, twice a year, Troy's Office of Career Services offers students a chance to make a first impression with interested employers. Nathaniel Rodriguez has the story.
Around 40 companies have come to Troy University's Sartain Hall Wednesday for this year's Fall Career Fair. The fair, held by Troy University Career Services, allows students to have headshots taken and their resumes reviewed while networking with potential employers. According to Lauren Cole, coordinator of Career Services, networking is crucial for any student looking to step into the professional world.
They need to start networking now. You can't wait till right before you're about to graduate or right before you need an internship. It's important to start months ahead. If it's lowerclassmen, probably for internships, upperclassmen, probably for those full-time jobs.
Several employers said that events like the career fair allow them to evaluate a prospective employee's potential face-to-face, as well as engage with them on a more personal level.
We've had a lot of people that are showing interest in WTVY, a lot of future journalists, I hope, asking really great questions, really thoughtful questions, coming very prepared and professional. I'm excited, and I hope that we are able to find some good reporters out of this candidate pool.
And as for the students, a few said the career fair helped them discover ways to get ahead.
I was talking to Enterprise over there, and they were talking about training me up to be a sales intern management. So that's a lot of good sales experience, and I think that'd be life-changing for a student like me, a business student.
Even though the career fair will not be back until sometime this spring, Troy University Career Services will update students on future networking events through emails and the Handshake website. Nathaniel Rodriguez, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
And in what has become a way to get students better prepared for the fair, Career Services offers up an opportunity to get to know some of the visiting employers in a more casual setting. Anna Kate Patterson has the details.
Employers attending the career fair on Wednesday visited campus a little early to meet one-on-one with Troy University juniors and seniors looking for internship and employment opportunities. Career Services held its employer panel and networking mixer Tuesday evening, where panel members answered questions about building resumes, internships, and employment opportunities. Coordinator Lauren Cole gives an idea of what the employers offering their expertise are looking for.
It really just kind of depends on the student themselves and their resume. So a lot of these companies just want to find good students.
Cole says that it is to the students' advantage to attend the mixer before the career fair because it allows them to make connections and get their resumes in hand early.
They recognize their face, they remember a conversation with them, and it kind of helps them pinpoint them when they're going through that resume and that application to remember, oh yeah, they came the night before.
However, it is important to remember that the mixer does not take place of the fair. Cole explains that even though the early connections that the mixer offers are important, your future employer may not be in attendance that night.
I believe it's still important to go to the fair because there's so many more employers that are at the fair, but it's also important to not lose that edge you've got by coming the night before and seeing them again the next day. So it's really important to go to both.
Resumes have been reviewed, votes have been tallied, and interviews have been conducted. After weeks of waiting, Troy University's SGA has announced the 2017 homecoming court. Janae Jordan has the story.
On Wednesday evening, Troy University held the homecoming call-outs to officially announce the 2017 homecoming court. The court is made up of 8 young ladies, 3 on the junior maids court and 5 on the queen court.
This is the homecoming court call-out. This is where we announce the official homecoming court that will be at all the events during homecoming week, and essentially a queen will be crowned from this homecoming court.
With Troy University rising in popularity, the homecoming committee decided to switch things up a bit.
This is new this year. We decided, looking at bigger schools, this is something that they did, and we decided, why not us? So we decided to try it out, see if it worked, maybe get a huge student turnout. I think it was successful in doing that. So maybe it's something that we will continue to do for years on and maybe elevate on that.
The ladies were all nominated by an organization and then put through a screening process, and from that point on, an email was sent out to the students for the popular vote.
This homecoming court is some of the most well-rounded people on this campus. I think the student body has chosen some excellent candidates. You can expect them to be at a lot of homecoming events, be present on campus.
The homecoming queen will be announced on Saturday, October 28th, when the Trojans take on Georgia Southern. Reporting from Bibb Graves, Janae Jordan, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, we'll see how the old pioneer days are making a modern impact on school kids. That's coming up right after this.
Everything starts out small. The things that hurt us, they all start from somewhere. words we say, the things we do, they can grow into something else. What was small and innocent can become big and sometimes scary. All it takes is one comment, one picture, one video for something to catch fire. But a big problem doesn't need a big response. Not at first. Even if we don't know what to say, the eye emoji can be that first step we take. Let's all pledge to take that first small step together and change the world in a big way. I'm a witness, and so are you.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
Log cabins, hand-churned butter, and wood-fired stoves, items that harken back to the earliest days of our country. And they were only part of what was on display at the Pioneer Museum of Alabama during the Pioneer Days celebration last weekend. Lydia Williams gives us a look.
Pioneer Days is an annual festival that takes place at the Pioneer Museum just off of Highway 231 in Troy. The festival includes a wide variety of activities such as wood stove cooking, rope making, blacksmithing, wagon rides, and more. Executive Director Carrie Bartley says the festival showcases thousands of artifacts from many eras of history.
We have over 18,000 artifacts ranging from the late 1700s to the early 1900s. Those range from lifestyle artifacts, Native American artifacts, war artifacts.
Nearly 600 students experienced history on the first day of the festival. Volunteer Cheryl Sansom has been volunteering at the Pioneer Museum for over 15 years. She says she enjoys giving students hands-on experience in her favorite Pioneer pastime, which is quilting.
I love it when we have school days and you get to, especially when we have a small group and you're able to hands-on with the kids. It just means a lot. We've had some really good kids today come through and interested in quilting and wanting to know how they can get started.
And even after the festival ends on Saturday, Sansom says she still wants others to feel at home at the museum.
I just love it here. It's just cozy and comfortable, and the people are always so kind, and it's just a wonderful place to be. It's a step back in time.
The Pioneer Museum is open Tuesday through Saturday from 9 to 5. General admission is $10 per person. Lydia Williams, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
The Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts is typically home to works from American-born artists. However, until mid-2018, the museum is showcasing an exhibit from a French sculptor. Sarah Singletary has a look at the exhibit from our Montgomery News Bureau.
Rodin first made a single figure.
The Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts is temporarily home to a 4-piece exhibition featuring works by French sculptor Rodin.
It was intended to be a model for something larger.
3 of the 4 pieces were loaned to the museum by a private owner. The 4th Rodin work was added to the exhibition from one of the museum's pre-existing permanent collections.
This figure is here.
Michael Panhorst is the curator who brought the sculptures to Montgomery, and he explains what makes Rodin's art so unique.
He basically took the monument off the pedestal and infused a kind of realism that had been lost from sculpture for many, many years.
3 Shades is just one of the pieces included in the Rodin exhibition that will be here until July, something Panhorst says is a rare opportunity.
And we are primarily a museum of American art, and this is a rare opportunity to share 2 works by a very important European artist with our community.
Panhorst says the Rodin exhibition helped spark discussion on modern sculpture in the community, a conversation leading up to the museum's latest project.
Our museum is engaged in a major fundraising campaign to build a brand new sculpture garden. It's an opportunity for us to engage our community and talk about modern sculpture and the upcoming sculpture garden.
Troy University is home to students from all over the world, many of whom like to share the culture with their fellow Trojans. And that was the case Tuesday afternoon as students visiting the Trojan Center got a taste of Africa. Ashley Brown has the story.
Student organization tables are a common sight for students who visit the Trojan Center. Tuesday morning, the Trojan African Student Association incorporated African music and games to their setup to attract students and promote African Awareness Week.
This week we are celebrating African Awareness Day. So for today we are having an event where we have games, African games, and we also are hosting people to come and write about the things or the perceptions that they have of Africa.
While some students responded to the prompt, "When you hear Africa, what do you think?" Others were learning how to play the common African board game, Owari.
Today was actually really fun. I got to know a lot about Africa, and I got to ask them a lot of questions. And we also played a game called Owari, which was pretty fun, and it was just a really fun interaction.
The group will conclude its African Awareness Week celebrations at the Thursday night's events. Anyone who is interested in the African culture is welcome to participate. The events will kick off at 7 p.m. in the Trojan Center ballrooms.
Okay, so on Thursday night, we are closing the beats and rhythms of Africa with events like Trivia Night. We'll be having a mini African dance, and we'll also be having like a sample fashion show that would involve like African wares going on stage. And we also have a raffle that will involve people winning prizes. That is African beads, anything African from the continent of Africa will be on display for people. We'll also have like foods for people to try and like the kind of diversity and varieties of different dishes that we have. We have samples available on Thursday nights.
Ashley Brown, Troy TrojanVision News.
Well, it's time for our last break, but when we return, we'll see how Troy University Department of Theater and Dance is preparing the next generation of actors and actresses. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Troy University was one of the very first in America to really embrace technology and to deliver coursework at a distance. We do a wonderful job in class, but we also are committed to doing that same wonderful job online. What we're there to do is to meet the student where he or she is and to help them reach their potential. Truly, we know our students by name and not by number, and that's what you find at Troy University.
Oh, it's gonna be great. I think it goes around.
Let's go. We gotta get you in practice.
And it's set.
Now back to Troy TrojanVision News Weekly.
Troy University's Relay for Life is next spring, but the group is already looking for student teams to take part in this year's event. Lydia Williams has the story.
Relay for Life is in the Trojan Center recruiting organizations and volunteers for their annual spring event. Avalon Didinsky explains what type of organizations can sign up and volunteer.
In the past, we've had over 20 teams sign up, and those vary from different organizations, Greek organizations, Student Government Association, as well as interest groups and academic organizations have joined as well.
There is a $10 fee to sign up for Relay, and Kirkland explains where those funds are donated to.
Through Troy and your organizations, we raise money for Relay for Life and for Pike County.
Dudinsky encourages everyone to participate.
Anyone that might consider relaying can form a team, and that could be a group of friends or a formal organization. Anyone can do it.
If you're interested in becoming a volunteer or signing up an organization for the event, contact Megan Kirkland at megan.kirkland@cancer.org. Troy University will hold their annual Relay for Life event on March 23rd. The time and location is to be announced. Lydia Williams, Troy TrojanVision News.
Troy University Department of Theater and Dance turned their sights to some younger learners last weekend as high schoolers visited the campus for a taste of what the department has to offer. Brady Talbert has the story.
For many, the weekend is a time without much learning, but for some theater students, it was precisely just for it. On Saturday, groups of high school students got the chance to fine-tune their theatrical skills at the Day of Theater, a day-long event that theater and dance instructors hope will leave a lasting impact.
A lot of kids come in with a lot of experience in terms of performance and making theater, but really aren't invested in the art of it. So they're coming in and they have a great enthusiasm, but they're not really seeing the ideas behind it and how it comes together. When they really kind of get their teeth into the academic side of theater and then really apply it, it's really kind of amazing to watch that light come on.
Students had the chance to learn about ways to bring a production to life by analyzing how Troy University brought the production of Peter and the Starcatcher to the stage. Attendees got a first-hand experience in creating set designs, costumes, and even theatrical makeup. They also received lessons on the proper way to select and present a monologue, and in true pirate fashion, performed a dance in a college studio. And as theater students learned some new skills that they can take back to their high school productions, they also got a taste of what it's like performing here at Troy University.
It's really exciting because for me, like, my college search has been kind of rocky, so to be able to come here and learn more what they can offer me has been really helpful in helping me make my college decision.
To see how these theatrical skills are used in Peter and the Starcatcher, you can check it out this Thursday, Friday, or Saturday in the Trojan Center Theater. Brady Talbert, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Every popular musician you hear on the radio had to get their start somewhere. And at Troy, one place for that first big gig is with the group Populous. The music industry program's pop music group had a performance on the Quad Tuesday night. Vanikia Daniels has the story.
Quite a bit of excitement was stirred up on Tuesday as Troy University's popular music ensemble Populous held a concert in front of Bibb Graves Hall. The group consists of musicians, arts managers, lighting and audio engineers, and even a student record label. Although it was designed for students within the music industry program, one of the artists explains how it's open to individuals of all majors.
And it doesn't even matter if you're a music major, if you're an exercise major, or like a business major, anyone can try out for it. Anyone can come in and you can express your love of music. We do hip hop, we do rock, we have classical music that we play sometimes. So basically it's just a great setting for people that really like pop music, any type of music.
Populous entertained the audience by performing a set list of popular songs as well as a few original songs written by songwriters within the program.
I really enjoyed the concert. I think it was a great blend of like all the popular music that you hear on the radio. My favorite song was the last song, Valerie, because I personally connected to that song and I was just back there dancing to it because it was just like the band was going, all the vocals were so good, and I just really enjoyed that one.
Big things are up and coming for these artists. After a series of recording sessions, they plan to drop their next album and go on tour next semester.
Show's coming up soon. The next thing that we're gonna start doing is actually start working on our actual own CDs, you know, own originals and stuff like that. I actually have an original song that's gonna be on the album as well. You know.
This is Vanikia Daniels, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Wednesday night on the Bibb Graves Quad, students saw what happens when bubble wrap meets soccer, as they were able to take an ordinary game of soccer to a whole new hard-hitting level. Chelsea Law has all the action.
You might have heard of soccer or football, but have you ever heard of bubble soccer? On Wednesday night, the University Activities Council gave students the chance to try their hand at bubble soccer on the Quad. But what is it exactly?
Bubble soccer is basically like everyone comes and they get in a big bubble and they're playing soccer, and it makes it hard for them to maneuver around when in the bubble because you have people going around just bumping into you and like flying everywhere like this right here. So, yeah.
After some student surveys, the UAC chose to bring this hard-hitting game back to campus.
It was an event that we had last semester, and it was a huge success. Everyone loved it. And we did surveys, and we had people tell us about it and how they loved the event and should we bring it back, and they said yes. So this is one of the events that we picked to come back again.
Although the goal of bubble soccer is to actually kick the soccer ball into the goal, it seems like everyone's favorite part is to actually get hit.
Oh, knocking people out for sure.
The big dude who about 7'5" when I came up and knocked him out, and like gave it to him. He hit a front flip almost.
My favorite part was probably taking out the biggest guy on the field. I ran full speed. I barely moved him, but it was enough to get him on the ground. He was about 6'8", and it was lots of fun.
Students were required to sign a waiver to actually play the game in case of injury. Chelsea Law, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Hope Chelsea's okay after that one. And that's what happened on the week of October 2017. To find out what's happening throughout the week, you can tune into Troy TrojanVision News at 5, 6:30, and 10:30 Monday through Friday, or anytime by following us on Twitter at Troy TV News. Also, feel free to like our Troy TrojanVision News fan page on Facebook. See links to online content from Troy TrojanVision News. We hope you join us again next week for another edition of Troy TrojanVision Weekly. Have a good week.